Welcome to Board of It. I'm Farrell. This is Tally.
Hello.
We've just returned from a trip to Southeast Asia, and although we're on holiday, we still set aside plenty of time to play games, specifically Skull King, to bring you reviews. That is how hard we work.
Always working
that
for
we
you.
play games even on holiday, just for you. So Skull King is an absolute kraken of a game. Nice. And this is a lovely little trick taker for 2 to 8 players. And why don't you tell us what makes it so special and why it dominated our holiday?
Dominated, yes. So it is a trick taker, like you said, but the little twist is that you, as a player, have to bet, gamble, predict accurately how many tricks in a round you think you're going to win after you've kind of seen your hand. And obviously this gets harder. The game's played over 10 rounds, so the more cards you get, can be a little bit more tricky to accurately guess how many tricks you think you are going to win. But it's very important that you get that number dead on accurate, because that's when you get the big points. Otherwise, bad times.
So please note, before we get into how to play and what we think, this was provided by the publisher for review. Skull King is a fairly standard trick taker, but with one spicy twist. You're gambling on how many tricks you're going to win, and that is how you get points. So at its core, it's a very standard trick-taking game. You're going to play cards. Every player will play one, and then whoever's played the highest card will win those cards, thus win a trick. Now, there are 3 basic suits: purple, yellow, and green. Then there is the trump suit, which is black. And so this will always, if you're able to play it back, because this game does follow the kind of standard trick-taking rule that somebody will lead with a suit, say purple, and then if you have a purple, you have to play it. But if you can play a black card on top of those 3 basic suits, you will win, because it is the trump suit. Then you have a number of kind of suits of cards which don't have numbers. And these break the rule of kind of following the lead card, because if you have a card without a number, it can be played at any time, even if you could play a card of the lead suit. There you have escape cards, which let you kind of back out the round without winning anything. You have mermaids, which beat any numbered card. You have pirates, which beat any numbered card and mermaids. And you have the Skull King, which beats any numbered card, pirates, but is beaten by mermaids. So you also have some kind of other little ones that you can decide to add in later once you're comfortable with the game, like the mermaid and the kraken and the white whale, and kind of negotiation like coins. But we'll leave those out for now. So the core of this game is that you'll play it over 10 rounds, and the round number is how many cards each player will be dealt. So you'll get 1 card in round 1, 10 cards in round 10. And each round, everyone's going to go yo, ho, ho, and on the second ho, show how many tricks they're betting they will win. You can bet 0, or you can bet, up to 10, I guess, depending on the round. The only way you get points is if you're correct. If you're not correct, you're going to lose points depending on how far off your bid you are. If you do get it right, you're going to get points based on how many tricks you won. More tricks, more points. You also will get some bonus points for certain cards captured. So kind of non-numbered cards taking other non-numbered cards is worth some bonus points. The 14 of each numbered suit has some bonus points. If you end up with those, then you will get some of those. But where it really gets spicy is if you bid 0, because you can bid 0, which means you're saying I'm not going to win anything. But it's very dicey, because you can win a lot of points or you lose a lot of points, because you'll get or lose 10 times the current round number. So in round 7, you could win 70 by being correct, or you could lose 70 by being incorrect. So that's kind of the basics, and we'll leave it there, although there are some variants in terms of how many rounds you play or what cards you put in or out. Also, even in how you're scoring, because the scoring here is quite swingy, but you can kind of have a more friendly version if that's something you want. Farrell here, and I'm at Board of It Studios editing the video you're watching, and I have a treat for you. So when we played Skull King on holiday, we were mainly playing with my sister and her boyfriend, and her boyfriend loved it so much he wanted to give his own review of Skull King, which I'm going to show you now. And it's going to be a treat because he is a national treasure and it is pure chaotic good energy. And so is he, essentially. So enjoy. And yes, it will overshadow the rest of the review. So sorry about that.
Wow! What can I say about Skull King? Okay, where do I start with this unbelievable game condensed into a tiny little cardboard box of joy? Right, Skull King's brilliant. I played it at 4, 5, maybe 6 times over the course of this holiday when Farrell and Tally came out to visit us. Shout out Board of Us. Played it a few times and got better and better, fell more and more in love with this game. But why? Why do I love this game? Well, first of all, it combines 3 things which I love: top trumps, pirates, and gambling. If you sort of try to imagine a game in which those 3 are condensed, you're basically halfway to understanding what Skull King is all about. Replayability, no 2 games are the same, okay? You've probably played loads and loads of games and you play it and you're like, oh, you know, you've done it now though. Every game is going to be the same. No, not with Skull King. The combinations of special cards you can have in your hand, the order in which you play, the people you play with, how ballsy you decide to be in terms of I'm going to bet 0, 1, 2 or 3 in terms of the number of trips you think you're going to win in a round. Genuinely, the different combinations are endless. So replayability factor 9.6 out of 10, I'm going to give that one. Portability. Okay, Farrell whipped this out of his bag at various points of the holiday, unannounced, which made it even more exciting. Probably another reason why I love the game. But he's whipped it out of his bag, so portable. I'd say it's about 18 centimetres by 6 centimetres in dimension, depth, probably about, well, they'll show you anyway. Really portable box, okay? It's not over till it's over, not over till the fat lady sings. It's not going to be like football where it could be 3-0 up at half time and then suddenly Liverpool in Istanbul 2005 comes back and wins. No, in round 9 or even 8, if you're really far behind, you know, the rounds really increase in importance in terms of how much points you can actually get. So, if you're behind around 8, round 9, don't give up, you can still win. Love that. You can't luck out a win. This is the last reason why I love it. It's impossible to luck out a win in Skull King. Okay, it requires tactical genius. It requires savvy. Okay, I think for the first time we played it, the winner had around 100 points, and for the last time we played it, the loser out of the 4 players I was with, the loser had at least 200 or 300 points or something stupid like that. So it's impossible to luck it out. It requires you to really think about when you play your cards, why, when, how are you going to decide when you play your cards in your hand to make sure you fulfill the bet that you placed at the start of the round. Okay, really good game, I love it. Gutted it's not in my life anymore and I miss it, so I'm going to have to go and buy it because it's endless fun.
Skull King is a game we accepted to review just because thought sounds like it might be interesting, take it on holiday, see how it goes. And it ended up being a game that defined our holiday, and I think we fell in love with.
It was an absolute smash hit. Let's just spoiler alert.
Smash hit with everyone involved. So yeah, we basically spent a whole day playing Skull King with my sister and her boyfriend, and everyone loved it basically. Review done. Get Skull King.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, so Skull King is, you know, at its core, it kind of has basic elements of trick taking. You know, you got your standard suits, you got your trump suit, and then you've got the kind of no number cards which spice it up a little bit. And that's all, you know, well and good and fun. But I think the core point of what makes this game special and why we particularly love it so much is the gambling and bidding on how many tricks you're going to win, because it just makes life so spicy.
Yeah, no, agree. To be honest, it'd probably be quite a fun game with just a trick taking, because the no number cards are always kind of interesting to see who's going to get what, because obviously you don't deal the entire deck out, so you never know if some of those more spicy cards which can trump everything, somebody may have it or it could still be in the deck. So even without the gambling element, quite fun. But the gambling part really does just elevate it, that kind of decision when you're looking at your cards. How many tricks do I really think that I can win here? And then almost doing your best to try and get that number, but obviously fighting against the cards that you've been dealt.
Yeah.
Because there are obviously rules where if you have a purple and the lead card's purple, then you have to play the purple. But is there some way that you can try and get around that somehow by playing like the surrender cards, or a lot of different kind of strategies available to you? And I know that your sister and her boyfriend particularly loved bidding zero.
The zero strategy, yeah.
Yeah, and deliberately trying to not win any tricks, which is pretty hard actually. It depends on the cards that you kind of given. If you have all low cards, maybe you have a good chance, but actively trying to play in that way, because that can score you really big points.
Yeah.
So I think something that we quite enjoyed about this game, you have 10 rounds and it can violently swing in points, really depending on, whether you kind of bid zero and manage to achieve that. You can be, the highs are high, but the lows can be very low. And it really is all to play for, which I don't know, I think we find that quite fun and interesting.
Yeah, I think so. Very much this is going to be a game that I think some people will play and be like, well, that was boring and swingy and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I think you'll get people like us who think it's an amazing way to spend some family time. And I think it kind of goes back to a little bit when we were talking about Waterfall Park, where I think we first played it and we're like, yeah, that's pretty good, but whatever. And then we played it with family and there was something like special about it. And I think with Skull King, if you get the right group, that's when it's really going to shine, with the kind of schadenfreude that you can get with, the right friend group. Just like if you've already kind of lost your bid, doing whatever you can to make other people lose their bids so they're in the same like boat as you. Mm-hmm. There's something really funny about that. Mm-hmm. And I also just like that there's like kind of these different strategies that you can kind of like bet big and try and like really win a lot because you get a lot of points if you win a lot of tricks, or you can bet zero, which is high risk, high reward. And there's even, because you can get all these bonus points, sometimes, you see people who kind of get negative 10 points on their kind of points for the round, but then they actually get 60 points from bonus points and end up with 50, which is more than the people who got their bid right and, bid like 2 tricks or something.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of variables in there that makes it for like really interesting, really swingy, really back and forth. It's a game that we've literally had like, I think a game end with everyone from 390 points to negative 140 points, right? That's the kind of game it is. So
I always find these types of games where it is just a deck of cards or, something, a few tokens and tiles, but that the game that you can get out of those things really just explodes in a way. I find those designs like particularly genius. Just taking something which is kind of done like trick take and just adding this little element of the gambling part is just genius to me, and just putting a whole new spin on it and a whole new love for it. But like you say, maybe some people this wouldn't land with, but for us I think it's just like not that deep. It's just a game to have like a laugh with and fun with, sit at the pub and play a couple of rounds. And just the enjoyment factor that we get out of this is pretty much off the charts. Yeah.
So I think to light negatives, I think the first thing is that because you have like basic suits and then a trump suit, and then you have the different kind of no number cards, it can be a little intimidating the first play for new people to get to grips with that. I think just because, it's like the Skull King beats everything, but a mermaid will beat the Skull King.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. It's hard to keep that in your head. So that's something to watch out for. And I think the second thing, and it doesn't necessarily bother us, but it is a problem. It is like a long game. It's very long for what it is, but I think the benefit, because you're gambling every round, every single kind of card you play is meaningful, because even when you're either trying to hit your limit or you're trying to not go over your limit, and that means that there's never really any easy rounds where you're not utterly focused. So it is compelling. it is good, but because of these 10 rounds, it does tend to take a long time.
Yeah, maybe longer than what you would think for
Yeah.
this type of game. Yeah, for sure.
I think it's like a solid hour game. It's not a filler game, almost.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in theory you could just cut the rounds.
Yeah, there are variants in the rule book to do that. But then, it's like, is it more fun to have the kind of, ramp up of 1 to 10
Yeah.
or... I'm
Stakes
sure...
do get like very high
Yeah.
in that 9 and 10, and you're like, it obviously makes it much harder to bet and like how many you would win
Yeah.
when it's like so many cards. So the stakes
Yeah.
really ramps up towards the end.
I think the last thing as well that's maybe negative is there's a lot of upkeep because you have to record everything ongoingly. And I was always the one doing it. And it's like fine, but it also, that adds to the time because it breaks the rhythm, because it's not like you just deal out and go again. It's like, okay, nobody touched anything. What did everyone get? Do like math, right?
Yeah.
So that is the minor negatives that I'd say to be aware of, but a huge amount of fun in this box for sure. And if you're just looking for that kind of silly, swingy card game to play when you're out at a pub or something, I couldn't recommend anything better than Skull King.
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah.
100% agree.
Any final thoughts?
Love it. One of my new favourite games.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing my sister and family again, and
Just to play this.
Pretty genuinely, yeah. I think we're already scheduling them to come here for Skull King. It's their
Skull
main
King
draw.
weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've got to come over and play Skull King.
So that is our review of Skull King, a terrific trick-taking, silly pirate game. If you have any questions, please ask us. And if this was helpful, please consider subscribing. And we'll see you next time. See ya.
Bye.